A blessed Sabbath to you all, brethren. Welcome to Present Truth. Our topic today is on the comparisons of the days of Noah and the days of the coming of Christ. Because we have been told to compare those to know exactly if it now fits snugly, then we know we are right at the time when Christ should come. So I chose this topic to say, are we anywhere near the coming of Christ? Because what will determine that we are near the coming of Christ is the similarity of these two periods. The period when when Noah was building the ark, and the period when now we are waiting for the second coming of Christ. So compare those periods. If we know that they are the same, then we know it's the time of the coming of Christ. So we are going to start, as we know, these verses are already there in the Bible. Matthew chapter 24, verse 37 is our first verse. Let's compare and see whether are we right at it or we are still far. Right? Let's hear.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So right from that verse, it's clear from us that the days when Christ should come should be exactly like Noah's day. So that's why this topic is most important to us, to see whether we are at it or we are far. It's God who put that verse in the Bible for us to compare these periods, so that if the periods show that they are now similar religiously, then we know we are at it. Now it says, the days of Noah were as they were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So we want to study that as Present Truth believers. We believe that Christ is almost coming. If these days are now the same, we have a clue from the Bible how the days of Noah were, and how our days are. So we have to compare those two. Now let's go to next verse, Matthew 24. Just proceed with it on verse 38.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. The days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage.
On verse 38.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Right. So we have been told they were drinking and marrying. You see, these two things we are doing every day. Even though a long time ago they were doing those things. You think they were not drinking? They were drinking. They were marrying. But what is it that this Bible is talking about? It says, when you repeat on, it says, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriages until the day that Noah entered into the ark. What does this all mean? It means that all those things that we are used to, they were still there. But eating and drinking and marrying is not a crime. But there's something that God is trying to explain about this eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage. It's because it's done in a way that God has not prescribed. That's why God has put those in the Bible. We'll understand more as we proceed with the lesson. It says in verse 39,
and we knew not unto the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So it means there is no change between what was experienced by Noah's time and what we are doing. People continued on their day-to-day work. Drinking, marrying, eating. Everything was just as it was. There was no change in days. That's why they did not prepare for the flood. Why? Because all the days were as normal. It's morning today. It's going to be evening. And we're going to sleep. We're going to eat. We're going to drink. we're going to do everything as normal. And there is one sentence which is so striking there. They did not know until that day came. So, like it is these days, people are talking of different things that show that there will be continuing. People have long-term plans, yeah? They've planned on 2040, 100 years to come, continuing as if everything will be normal until 2040. So we want to know then, is it not the same as what was in the time of Noah? They were continuing with plans, marrying. Once you are marrying, you're looking forward to a good life, happy life with your wife and with your husband. You're looking forward to a good future, as if nothing is going to happen. They have plans without any question about the coming of Christ. No question at all. All the plans that are there are as if people will live long. But here we are being told, they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. There will be a people who live not knowing that Christ is about to come. They just blanket it and say, oh, we are at the time of the end. But they don't actually mean it when they live. They are talking about the end, but they live the opposite. Now here, we are being told that this is a picture of the present truth, of the present time. It should be exactly the same as the time of Noah. They were marrying, they were eating, they were drinking, and knew not until only 8 people were in the flood, in the ark. So exactly the same here. We are eating, we are drinking. Everyone is doing that. It's a normal thing. We are marrying, we are giving in marriage. But there is no question about the coming of Christ in anything we are doing. Let's hear from, we are going to be studying a very important book. SCOC, or just Second Coming of Christ. So it's abbreviation in the New Estate. Page 56.1. Let's start from where I say, as the time drew near. Because there's one thing that we're doing. Noah was a preacher of righteousness. On that time, when he was preaching about the flood, it was something that had never happened. So because of that, people had a chance to mock at Noah, jeer, talk about him. He was somebody who anybody knew and was actually against. That's what it was with Noah. His work was calculated to give edge to or set home to the heart what he preached. Every righteous sermon, every blow struck in the building, the ark, condemned a carelessness and a careless scoffing of the world. So people who were not ready for the coming of Christ did not want to hear about the going into the flood. They did not want to hear about that sermon. Thinking that we have to go into a small thing like the ship, the ark, the whole world. It was not imaginable. But God devised that Noah should build an ark. Yet the world was full of plenty people who can't all fit in the ark. Why did God do that? Because he knew only 8 people were going to go in. Now we are being told about the kingdom. And people will say, we are saying it's going to be set in Jerusalem. The kingdom, before we go to heaven, is setting here on earth. That's the kingdom which will grow like a mustard seed, which we always preach. Why? It's just as small as a sheep or as an ark. And people cannot imagine all the saints to inhabit Jerusalem in the kingdom. That's not practicable. Why did God give the people of Noah's time a small area for people to come in, a small thing like an ark, for people to come in and be saved in that? Why did God do that? He knew the unbelief of the people, that they will never, those who had strong unbelief, will never imagine that they were going to be saved by going into that ark. So now we are being told, as it was in that time of Noah, it shall be in the time when Christ is coming. We have got our own ark, which is the kingdom. They had the ark, which was the physical ark. So compare those two. We have something that people continuously point to the sky. Oh, Christ is coming into the sky, and we hope in, like Thessalonians, which is a verse in the Bible, but it does not mean, it does not point to our time, what we are waiting for. It's later, after this time. But what are we waiting for? We are waiting for the ark, which is the kingdom. People inheriting the kingdom, which we were told that we should pray and say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So what is this will? People are always thinking that we are already in the kingdom. Yes, it's true. When Christ came the first time, he was making sure we are in the kingdom. But what kingdom was it? It was the kingdom of grace. But now we are going to go to the kingdom of glory, which is visible. That one was invisible. Now we have a visible kingdom, which is going to be established in Jerusalem. So it's very hard for people to believe that, because it has never happened. But they know there are promises. Like in Abraham's case, he was told that your seed is going to be like the sand of the sea and like the stars. But when he died, did that happen? They were going to inherit the land. Did that happen? Where the 12 tribes of Israel stayed in glory in the time when they are saved like the seed of Abraham in the land. Did that happen? So how can we go when all these promises are pointing to the kingdom in Jerusalem? And it's clear. Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2 says, the law shall come from Mount Zion. But now we know even Laodicea, the headquarters, is not in Zion. It is established outside Jerusalem. Outside. We know where it is. The Bible calls it wilderness. So we know from that there is a time when the law should come from Zion. Which one? Which period is that? We know for sure that we are going to inherit the kingdom, which is going to be established on earth. That is our ark. But do people believe it? There is strong unbelief in that kingdom, as it was in the time of Noah. In the time of Noah, the rain had never fallen in this earth. What was causing the germination of the grains and the seeds? What was causing that? It was dew. There was never rain. It was something which was practically not possible to happen on earth. Now, it's also practically not possible to inherit the kingdom in Jerusalem, but the scriptures and prophecies are pointing to it, and we are reading it. When we are talking about Christ coming as a bridegroom and entering the chamber, the marriage chamber, where is that? Where is it? Where he takes the 5 wise virgins into the kingdom and the foolish are rejected. Where? It's not the cloud. It's not the coming in the cloud, that one. We have a lot of prophecies which talk about his coming. You can name them, all of them. Then you are sure this kingdom is our present ark. When he says, Michael shall step on this earth, and they shall proceed the time of travel in Daniel chapter 12. which period is that when he comes as Michael and steps here on earth, and then followed by a time of trouble such as never? So it means there's a period he comes before the earth has come to the end, where he comes, and then what follows is the time of trouble such as never was, which is the number 666 you are always talking about. It happens when he's here. It's not a test for Laodicea. It's a test for the whole world. You can't be tested by Sunday laws. You can terribly, that one cannot be your test. That is your test for those who are keeping Sunday. But you know for sure that's not our test. What is our test? It's this kingdom. So this kingdom is a test just like the test which was with the ark, testing the inhabitants of the earth to say, come and build it and you have. Now God is saying, behold upon the mountain and the feet of him who bringeth good tidings. O Judah, keep thy solemn feasts. So he's talking about somewhere where the kingdom is established by the keeping of the feast, which is in Nahum chapter 1, verse 15. So you will see, we should know that there is an ark of Noah. Prophecies point to it. The ark of Noah, which is the kingdom, prophecies are pointing it. And even Matthew chapter 24, verse 37 says, it will be the same as those who were being called to build the ark. And they rejected that message to build the ark. And now God is building the ark of the kingdom. Many are scoffing and jeering about that kingdom and are not even ready. They are marrying, they are eating. That's not wrong to eat and marry. But it's because there is something you should accept first.
Yes.
Then you are allowed to marry, you're allowed to eat while you are preparing for it.
Amen.
Now, people are not preparing for the kingdom, but they are marrying, they are eating, they are drinking. Whilst there's something that God is saying, Noah built this ark of the kingdom, and they are not even aware of it. Those who are aware of the kingdom, they are studying the prophecies of how that kingdom is going to be established. They are busy studying. Though the marriages come, they do the marriages, but the mind continues to study about the entry to that kingdom, how and when, and preparing slow but sure. And the kingdom is prepared by the keeping of the statutes. We are so aware that Malachi chapter 4, verse 4 to 5 talks about the statutes, which are the festivals, and the judgments. These are preparatory for the kingdom. We know that. And then says, the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to the whole world for a witness. Why? Because God knew that they are going to be like Noah's time. They will never be converted to it. And few people will enter like it was in the time of Noah. Now we are studying this. Let's study this topic. It's very interesting. You and I, maybe we can be saved to take a look at the prophecies and see if our condition is the same as Noah's time. Then we know these are the days when Christ will come, when we are not aware, because most people are talking about his coming in the cloud. They're not aware about his coming as Michael to step on the earth, and then before the earth has come to his end. They're not aware of that. They are not aware that the bridegroom, which is in Matthew, which 10 virgins took, and some foolish ones which did not have added light. They did not have, they were on third angel's message instead of fifth angel's message. They did not go into the marriage chamber with the bridegroom. They are not aware there is a time like that on earth. This is all pointing to the establishment of the kingdom. They are seeing even the 144,000 standing on Mount Zion with the lamp. Christ still a lamp, not the King of Kings, but he's still a lamp, meaning there is a portion of people, the Gentiles, have not yet been judged, because judgment begins first in the house of God, produces the 144,000. They stand with Christ still as a lamp, because he hasn't finished the intercessory work. Now starts to intercede for the Gentiles using the 144,000 who are servants. They are sealed in Revelation 7 as servants to work to gather all the Gentile forces into the kingdom. He actually comes in Matthew chapter 25, verse 31 upwards. He actually comes in a throne of glory and sits on earth and have dialogue with even the wicked ones, who says they are stepping on the left side as gods. Which period is that? So when you study all the prophecies, they are all pointing to the kingdom. And he is about to come, but there is comparing and comparison of the time of Noah and the present time, where people are jeering in Noah's time, jeering in our time. Mocking in Noah's time, mocking in our time. The condition, the spiritual condition, is more or less the same. Now let's hear more. Why, as the time drew nearer, let's hear that from SCOC 56.1, which is second coming of Christ. Let's hear.
As the time drew nearer, the people were more careless, more hardened, more bold and impudent.
Listen to
and
that.
their condemnation surer.
Now you find somebody who is a Sabbath keeper, where the judgment begins in the house of God. The time has come nearer to the establishment of the kingdom. What happened to these people? As that time came close in the time of Noah, what was the spiritual condition? They were more careless, more hardened, more bold in rejecting God, more impudent, and their condemnation was sure. That is, when you hear that that person has been condemned by God, you all say it's true. People are in that condition. They were in that condition in the time of Noah. They were so more hardened. You see how they spoke to Noah? All the careless words were sent to Noah. You are a fanatic, a heretic, an offshoot. They were all from a hard heart, more hardened, more surer. The condition was surer to condemn them because of what was coming from their mouth. It says they were more careless. They eat, they drink, and nothing is coming. Nothing. That's what they did to Noah. They ate, they drank, they married. As if nothing. Noah's talking of nothing. Whose heart is pricking when you hear the kingdom message? Are you pricking? Are you going back to Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, which says, the kingdom which will be preached before Christ steps on earth. The message which will be preached is the kingdom. Does that prick you to say it was to be preached and then the end come? There's no other message which follows the kingdom. Does that prick you? Or you are careless? Nothing to do with it. Go away, offshoot, fanatic, fugamist. All the words, they come from a mouth which is originating. The words originate from a heart which is hardened, which is careless. Now here he says, and at the same time people are saying they are following Christ. Following Christ with such hard words, such condemnation, which is visible to everyone who is watching, who hears you. You know that this person is being condemned, producing these words which were there in Noah's time. Now he says, as the time drew nearer, the people were more careless, more hardened, more bold, and impudent. And their condemnation was clear and sure. Everyone who was looking at them knew this one is just working for condemnation. That's his work. His work is just for condemnation. If you talk about those who are defiling the very Sabbath, the day where God commanded we should rest. They are busy introducing things that cause them not to rest. Marching. You talk about it. You march on a Sabbath. They are so hardened, so careless, and more bold into marching. Yeah, exactly. Like for like. That's like for like. You see, you tell them that this is the diet that God wants us to be eating this time. They come to actually eat it in front of anyone who says about it, says, me, I will eat it. More hardened, more bold in rejecting that message. They do that. You talk about the Lord's Supper. Where do you find it in the Bible? That is a 13th Sabbath. They do it more openly, more bold and more careless. They don't care. What about the camp meeting? You talk about the calendar of God is in the Bible. Those camp meetings which are not in the Bible, the date is not in the Bible. They are from paganism. More bold, more hardened, and more sure of the condemnation. You can name everything. You can name it all. You talk about the Christmas is not God's feast, it's pagan. More bold, more hardened, more careless, doing whatever. They don't care. They don't care. Why do you think is that? As it was in the days of Noah, it will be in the days of the coming of Christ. Only a few handful will wait like those 8 who went into the ark. It calls for families to be strict brethren keepers, to say, I will keep my brethren. You see them getting hardened and careless, tell them, you are being careless. Tell them. This is what they were doing. Noah's family was doing. They were making sure they are all, let's do one thing. Let's wait. It's a family thing. It was a family thing in the time of Noah. It's a family thing also in the time of the coming of Christ. Look after your family. Make sure they are bold in worshiping God. While things are happening around them, they keep their eyes fixed into the coming of Christ. Do you understand? Now let's hear more here. This says, Noah and his family. Mm-hmm.
Noah and his family were alone. Noah and his family were alone.
Finish.
And could...
What? These are not... We have stopped now concentrating on congregation. For you can't win. You think you can win? The only thing you can win, do like Noah. Concentrate in your family. I'm seeing people are happy with numbers. I saw someone saying 30-something thousand people were baptized into Laodicea. They are happy and glorifying numbers. They did something and you don't even know whether these people understood the message at the same time. The number itself clearly shows that these are a combination of wheat and tares. Now, you can't trust numbers. Concentrate on your family. See that your mother is there. Your father is there. Your brother is there. Your sister is there. Try your best. If he refuses, you have done your part. Concentrate on your family. We can't trust these congregations. Don't ever think these numbers will help. They will not help. Noah's family only. That family had the ark in mind every day, talking about it at home, while eating, making sure they are ready to walk into the cloud. This is what you should be doing with your family. Make sure your children are ready. Make sure your husband, your wife is ready. Make sure your parents are ready talk about the kingdom at a family level, like it was with the time of Noah. This is what should be done in the time when Christ will come. It's just a family thing to be saved. That's why God started the earth. The first creation was a family. Why? Because the family thing works. It works. You continue to remind each other. Don't forget, we need to go. We need to go to keep the feast. Don't forget, we need to keep the 10 Commandments. Don't forget, we need to worship God the proper way. Don't forget this thing about following the world. Don't follow the world. The world is busy. It's marching. It's doing all sorts of things. Salute. For a purpose. To keep the nation. But why are you marching? To keep what? So you see, don't rally after the world. The world has a purpose, good purpose. What purpose do you have? To tire people on a Sabbath? No way. Remind each other the proper worship of God. When he says in Patriarchs and Prophets, page 352, says, in this custom, the Christians have an example of morning and evening sacrifice. Yes. They have families in that system, in the time when Christ will come, in the daily. Concentrate on the daily, where you meet Christ in the 3rd hour, 9th hour. Make sure your family has done the daily. Make sure. So let's read it. Let's hear.
353.3.
Yeah.
In this custom, Christians have an example for morning and evening prayer.
What was this custom? In that paragraph above, was talking about the daily.
Yes.
Of the morning and evening sacrifice time, which was being done when the people who first were introduced into the true worship of God they were worshiping God 3rd hour, 9th hour. And then God is saying in that Patriarchs and Prophets, page 353, in that custom, that's where the Christian have an example. Were they marching? Were they saluting on Sabbath? Were they doing all those funny things on Sabbath? No, they were not doing that. They were making sure. Let's hear.
In this custom, Christians have an example for morning and evening prayer. While God condemns a mere round of ceremonies.
You do all those mere round of ceremonies without the 3rd hour and 9th hour. God condemns that.
He looks with great pleasure upon those who love him, bowing morning and evening to seek pardon for sins committed and to present their requests for needed blessings.
Do that on a family level. Family level. It will show you what God wants. And it will keep you ready for the coming of Christ. Not at a congregation level. They have nothing. You run short of ideas until you make the whole church match all like a field of grains. They are all full, marching. And the heavens, where is my 3rd hour? Where is my 9th hour? He condemns all rounds of ceremony without the 3rd hour and 9th hour. Now here we are seeing, let's hear, and Noah and his family were alone. When the whole world was making noise, the whole world making noise, that noise of making sure, it says when the worship is now for display, for everyone to see, it's full of things to say, to make the people think that you have got the Holy Spirit. You sure there's something lacking? Sister White says so. You sure? They were quiet, worshiping God without display, making sure they're not boasting. I love my church. I love what do you love? Love the principles of God. They were doing it quietly. That's why Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 7, verse 20 says, they now realized late and say, the summer is ended, the harvest is past. We are not saved. Why? Those who are worshiping God were worshiping quietly, no display, no outwardness to show people that now we are marching, we are no singing publicly to enjoy, to show people we enjoy this thing. They were doing it quietly as a family. Those who were ready for the entering the ark, That's what they were doing. They did not have all those displays of marching on a Sabbath. Or on a Sabbath, you just run away for dear life and have a quiet place with your God. As long as you have a third hour and the ninth hour. That's why he says, in the end, he says, where two or more are gathered, he will be the third. But they're quietly studying the prophecies. Yeah? Come third hour, they're taking the communion, worshiping God. Ninth hour, they're confessing their sins on those times which God has given. This is how Elijah also won. The prophets of Baal were busy crying every minute, lashing and everything, talking to their God. And he mocked them and said, cry aloud. In case he is asleep, wake him up. He was talking to them so that they reason, they know that the God that they are worshiping is not a God. If he is a God, could he sleep? Peradventure, he is on a journey. Peradventure, you go and read it for yourself, 1 Kings chapter 18, starting from 38. You marvel. But at the third hour, at the time of morning sacrifice or evening sacrifice, Elijah knew that this is where my God is worshipped. He now spoke to God, and the fire came on the altar. So, the worship, you could be talking about worship and saying, we worship, I love my church for worshiping. You could love your church for marching. Love your church for fables. It says in the last days, they will be full of fables, smooth things. Yeah. Love for everything. But those who love their God will be found worshiping on the appointed hours. Per day is the third hour, ninth hour. On Sabbath, third hour, ninth hour. Per month, on a new moon. Per season of spring, on the Passover. Same spring, on the Pentecost. Per season of the autumn, on the month of Tishri, which is in October. So, October, in the middle of it, starts the Feast of Tabernacle. And it does not just start. It says that's where he wants to see the proper worship. Third hour, ninth hour, because you are gathered, wash each other feet. You saw Christ washing each other feet. It was not a Sabbath. It was at night of the 14th, it was on a Wednesday. Night of the 14th day of the first month of Abib. At night. That's where he washed the feet. It was not only Sabbath. It was in the middle because it was a feast. He did perform the Lord's Supper by starting with the washing of feet to a service of humility. Humble yourself in front of your brethren. Take your brethren as better than you. This is what God has ordained to make us humble. If you do not have that service, that's why you started to boast and brag. And brag, I love my, bragging. But you need a humility service. Wash each other's feet. Next, what you need now to take the bread and wine, which is, the bread is the meat offering. The wine is the drink offering. This is what is needed on that day. So here, our God is a God of time. As long as you are drinking, you are eating and marrying without those times, that day will find you as a thief. Until the time when Noah went into the ark. Noah was a feast keeper. You can imagine, go to his life. You find he was observing the morning sacrifice, evening sacrifice. He was a feast keeper. Same as Elijah, same as Christ. He ordained that feast, which was going to point to his death. He was a feast keeper. Now here it says, Noah and his family were alone. Let's hear the next sentence. The next sentence. Okay. And could. There's a question there.
Noah and his family were alone. And could one family know more than all the world?
Is it really practical? That one family
could know more than the whole world.
Could be known by heaven. Whole heaven knew that family. knew the family, that there is a family who knows more than the whole world. I had someone who was calling himself somebody who was, we had a big post in Laodicea, and came, requested a study with me. Then I said, let's go to the first angel's message, Revelation 14, verse 6. Then I said, who preached the first angel's message? No clue. No clue. No one is teaching them who preached the first angel's message, who preached the second, who preached the third. But this is a fundamental belief. No one. Where do they get it? Then I said, after the third angel's message, verse 9, do you see there are several angels' messages coming? Do you see them? Verse 14 up to 16. Verse 17 to 18. Do you see there are additional 2 messages that we have not gone? We have stepped at the ninth verse with the third angel's message. But we didn't go as far as verse 18. They don't know where to find. They even talk about fundamental beliefs when they don't even know what they are. The question says, do you believe, could one family know more than the whole world? Do you know in the time of Abraham, it was the only family God was looking after. When he sent rains, it was for that family. Everyone, the whole world benefited. But because of only that family, God sent his mercies. Brought sunshine for that family. Brought rain for that. Brought blessings for that family. Though the world was also benefiting. But one family knew God in the time of Abraham. What about the time of Noah? One family knew God. And you know, God has a lineage he follows. From the time of Adam, he was only blessing Adam. From the time he had Abel and Cain, God was only blessing Abel. Even when Abel died, he did not say, oh, Adam, you've got 2 children, now I have to work through Cain. No, he had to make sure there was another boy called Seth. So to come and step in the lineage, Seth, in the time of Noah, in the time of Enoch. That's why we hear mention of one person continuously. Yeah? Seth. Next, even with the females, we are being told of Eve. We know about a female called Eve. We know about a female called Sarah. Though there were plenty of women, but Sarah is mentioned. We know about Mary. These are the women. They are mentioned for a purpose. We know about Sister White. We know about Sister Lois Roden. We know about it. She gave us the feminine gender of heaven. To those who are following prophetically, the prophetical line. Some stopped at 1915. No more prophets. So they can't know about Sister Lois. Don't make noise when you are talking about Sister Lois Roden. Because you know very well you stopped the prophetic lineage on Sister White on 1915 when she died. So don't mess around with the future prophecies. The future prophets are known by those who continued with them. Until Christ comes, he will still be following a prophetic lineage and establishes the kingdom. That's why we are calling of a branch Davidic kingdom. Someone in the spirit of David will be ruling, will be in the prophetic lineage, and he establishes the kingdom with a prophetic lineage. So he has a family in the time of Noah who obeyed him completely. This family, I admire this family. Noah's family alone. The messages of God start with a family. Even when the third Aries message started, it was a family. James White marrying Sister White, that's the family. He started with a family. He started with the family of Adam, family of Noah, family of Sister White, family of Mary and Joseph, family. Now, he cannot be sporadic at last. He still maintains a lineage of a family until he comes. Believe it or not, that's what he does. Now, here it says, and could one family know more than all the world? That's the question. Listen to the ark.
The ark.
Could one family know? Yeah, this here.
And could one family know more than all the world?
Right.
The ark is a matter of ridicule, and Noah is regarded as a willful bigot.
This is all the words.
But the Lord calls Noah into the ark, and by the hand of providence, the beasts are led into the ark, and the Lord shuts Noah in.
Is there someone we hate? We hate spiritually. Or we have a spiritually don't even want to hear that person. Could be your Noah. It could be your Noah. Noah knew that people did not like him. Same as the last Noah knows exactly. But you know what? God would have already, given Noah a spirit to overcome that. Noah didn't care. As long as he was doing the will of God, he didn't care about all that. Why do you think people hate somebody prophetically who has been appointed by God? To make sure that person is diverted from the work and forgets about the message, and the message is going nowhere, and the whole world is cursed. So the first thing God does is empower the messenger, because he knows. That's why he wrote Ezekiel chapter 3. The Son of Man, the people that I'm sending you to are hard-hearted. So I have also hardened your heart, hardened your forehead like diamond, so that you cannot be moved. So that's one thing you should, before you hate somebody for the messages of God, you should know that person is well prepared for that. Knows exactly everything, the consequences, all the things that come because of a message. God makes sure he's making that person ready for whatever, so that the message goes to the people. But the Lord calls Noah into the ark, though hated, jeered, mocked. But God did not hate Noah. God summoned Noah and his family to be blessed in the ark, and the haters remained out. Is it happening in the time of the coming of Christ? Are we hating people for the messages? Especially when talking about the feast. No one wants to hear. We are not of this old dispensation. We are without a verse. They just blanket. Some even come with histories of people who have done wrong, as if their history alone is good. As if their own history is good. There is no church which has not heard someone who is bad. But is the church called by the name of that person who is bad? So, and could one family know more than all the world? The ark is a matter of ridicule, and Noah is regarded as a willful bigot, someone who is not really wanted. And they think somebody is crazy. When somebody loves God, they think he's crazy. Somebody is fanatic. They call by all names. Yeah? just for loving God. But if there is a but there, the Lord calls Noah into the ark. While we are cursing that person, God takes that person and blesses into the ark. And by the hand of providence, listen to that sentence.
And by the hand of providence, the beasts are led into the ark, and the Lord shuts Noah in.
All those miracles, Noah had to descend. That the person we hated for the message, not for anything else, not for, you haven't done any crime to anybody. Just preach the message. They'll hate you more than anyone, any criminal, because of preaching the message. But God takes Noah, the hated servant, in the ark. And further, to show that there is still more space, takes the beast to inherit where, to sit in the chairs where people were supposed to sit in the ark. They sit in the ark, in the chairs, in the ark. Have you been in the ark? Comfortable chair. They are there. The beast sat on them where the people should have sat comfortably. The beast sat on them. The kingdom will be the same. While you hate those who are preaching the kingdom, the servant who has been raised as Elijah to inherit the kingdom, to preach that, let's go into the kingdom. Let's keep the feast, because the kingdom is about to be established. You hate Elijah, call by names. But God will take Elijah into the kingdom. Most hated servant into the kingdom. And there will be beasts. It says so in Jeremiah 33. The beasts will be there. It says even a child will lie in front of a lion. There will be peace in the valley. It says so. There will be peace in itself. There is no sadness, no sorrow, no crying. In the valley. Which valley? Not the valley in the heaven. The valley in the kingdom. That's why God is saying you will open the valley of Acre for the saints to walk in. You don't read all those prophecies about the establishment of the kingdom. Now let's hear. It says in SCOS, Second Coming of Christ, 56.1. This is regarded, listen.
This is regarded at first by the scoffing multitude.
Now, when you want to know this, we have finally got our Noah. It's regarded by the way the people scoff at that message. Then we have a Noah. It's regarded by the scoffing of the multitudes. These numbers that are thinking that they know God when they don't even know the first ages message, who proclaimed it. They don't even know all the logistics of what they call fundamental belief. Nothing. You think you've spent them the whole day marching and that, what time are they going to read? What time are they going to learn of God? They know nothing. Except wherever you find them saying it's beautiful today, it's beautiful. It's the singing. They know nothing, it's just singing. Whoever bewitched them and said the pearly gates is entered by singing without knowing a single message. This sealing comes from a message. It's the settling into truth so that you are not moved. Not in the singing. It's a settling into truth.
Yes.
What time are they going to settle into truth? You come to church, you have dressed like a soldier. You are a soldier. What soldier? Soldier of Christ. Soldier. In which verse have you found those? People who come with certain dresses, the only dress I see in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9, is say, modest. Dress in a modest way. It did not give color of the dress. It did not give, it says you should be modest. Shamefacedness. Someone who is dignified. That's what, now we pose in the whole person, instead of buying your nice dress, and you're buying like that. But what time are you going to read? Here he says, this is regarded at first by the scoffing multitude as something wonderful. What do they regard as something wonderful? What is that? Seeing the beast marching into female, male and female. They didn't even learn the reason why there was a male beast and a female. That was, they were proclaiming, the beasts were proclaiming the Godhead. Because Romans chapter 1 verse 20 will tell you that if you want to know what is invisible in the Godhead, go to what was created. And what was created? Genesis chapter 1 verse 22 to say, let's make man in our image, with our likeness. Then someone says, the likeness of character only. No. We will find in great controversy, you are told clear in 644. It will tell you clear that man was created in form, like God, in form and feature. You find that by reading, but not by marching, not by singing, by reading. And then at the third hour, you worship God. Take your communion service. 9th hour, you worship God. Take your communion service. This custom is for those who follow Christ. That's what we read. Who knows about that system? As it was in the days of Noah, it shall be in the time when Christ shall come. They were all drinking. They were all eating. They were all marrying. You have no distinction as who is who, but it will be seen when they were supposed to enter the ark, that those who are entering the ark believed Noah. That was the only demarcation. Do they believe Noah? Or do they believe the multitudes of preachers, the prophets of Baal, who worship with no time? They had no time. In 1 Kings chapter 8, they were lashing themselves anytime talking to God. And that's why Elijah was laughing at them. Cry aloud. Your God has no time. Cry aloud. But when Elijah now starts to demonstrate the times of God, when they arrived, he now took charge and started speaking to God at the evening sacrifice, which is the 9th hour. And there was order. God also responded with fire. And you see the people in Acts chapter 2 on the day of Pentecost, those who did not know the times of God, were told by Peter in Acts chapter 2, let's go, Acts chapter, they were mocking and laughing at Peter's and disciples who were speaking in tongues moved by the Holy Ghost. Let's see, verse 12, Acts chapter 2, verse 12.
And they were all amazed,
right,
and were in doubt, saying one to another, what meaneth this?
You see, those who were not in the system of heaven, in the prophetic system, they were laughing at Peter and all the disciples who had received the Holy Ghost. Let's hear.
What meaneth this?
What meaneth this?
Others mocking said,
they were mocking.
These men are full of new wine.
You see, they had finished taking wine.
But Peter,
right,
standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice.
They knew what it meant.
And said unto them, Ye men of Judea,
right,
and all ye that dwell in Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words.
Right.
For these are not drunken,
they are not drunk, as you suppose.
Seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day.
So you see, it was at the 3rd hour they took the communion service. And the Holy Spirit also came, as it was in Elijah. It was on the appointed time, the 9th hour.
Yes.
The Holy Spirit came. But what was happening to the prophets of Baal? Who had these prophets of Baal? Their leader was Jezebel, the wife of Ahab. Ahab was the leader of Israel. You see how many people are Ahabs in this time? Mocking, jeering at the today's Elijah, or at the Noah of today. Laughing, jeering, mocking, drinking, eating, marrying, giving in marriages. Everyone is marrying. But the only demarcation is some are marrying, drinking, eating, while waiting for the establishment of the kingdom. While working hard for the establishment of it. That's the only demarcation. You are marrying, you are eating and drinking, you are doing everything like all the saints. But the only difference is that you are not working for the kingdom. You are working for something else, which all multitudes are. The only demarcation, there was one family which was right in that time. One family was right, 100% right. When the time came for the one family, they went into the ark. They went into the ark, though they were marrying like others, they were eating like others, they were drinking like others. But the demarcation was they were with the messenger of that hour, building the ark, anticipating the coming of the rain. That's the only demarcation with those who were eating and drinking and marrying without this expectation of the ark, people entering the ark so that they are saved. Now we have an ark, the kingdom. People enter in that kingdom. Some will be denied. Go. I was hungry, did not give me food. I was go and but those in the right will be told, enter in the kingdom. That's Matthew chapter 25, verse 34. Enter in the kingdom which has been prepared. Which kingdom were they entering on earth? Were they entering in heaven or on earth? So when we tell you that the kingdom now is about to be established, many people are eating and drinking and marrying and careless about the kingdom, scoffing at it, jeering at it, as it was in the days of Noah. It will be in the time when Christ will come. Now it says, this is regarded at first by the scoffing multitude as something wonderful, but it is soon explained away by the wiser ones. You see, the Peters, they were the wiser ones who explained why people were speaking in tongues at the third hour, after taking wine, after drinking wine. They were speaking. They had to explain to the jeering, mocking multitudes who were laughing at them. You see, when you're living with somebody, it could be the wife or the man or husband or whatever, and your wife is in the message of the kingdom, he looks like a fanatic to you, is he? Exactly. It does, is he? You think he's a fanatic? No, it's somebody who is attached with heaven. Pause away from that person. Pause away. If you can't beat them, join them. That's the only peaceful way you are going to solve that problem. When one has been connected with the message of the hour, to try to fight with the message only makes it worse. Yeah. According to my experience of what I've seen, Sister White is correct.
Yeah.
To fight with the message is only to fuel it. Yeah? When it is a wife connected with heaven, hands off. Because you can't fight that battle with God. It's a losing battle. Leave. Until the wife alone says, I don't want to follow God. If the wife will say, I will follow God, you are fighting a losing battle. If you can't beat that, join it.
Yeah.
That's the only way. You see, Lot with his wife, Lot did not join the wife. You think that wife was not talking negative before they walked out? They were told not to look back. She did. Did Noah join in? No. Kept on. Knowing now, I don't know what they were calling Noah after the wife had died. I mean, were they calling him a widow? A widower? Or what? But he knew that it was for the sake that he was following God. You know, he followed God until even the wife died, who was not following God. This is what happens. Hang on, hold on to the message. God says, do not fear anyone with nostrils. You know, these two openings there, they mean one day they cannot work. That's what God means in Isaiah chapter 2. He means that do not be afraid of people with nostrils. He takes charge of every problem. He is the one who takes charge. It's a losing battle to fight the message. If God has visited you, and some receive and some don't, those who don't receive the message, stay away, because you lose. It's a losing battle. Now here it says, but it is soon explained away by the wiser ones. The wiser ones who are on the side of the message. They know exactly what is happening to the rejecter. They know exactly what is written. While they are professing that you are a fanatic, but it's them actually who are losing. They know exactly. Now he says, so as to calm their fears and they breathe easier. Do you understand? So he says in 56.2 on the same chapter,
The day of expectation finally arrives.
Mhm.
The sun rises as usual.
Now when the day of going into the ark finally arrived, listen properly there. Mhm. The day of expectation finally arrives, right? What happened? The sun.
The day of expectation finally arrives. The sun rises as usual,
Listen
the
to
heavens
that.
are clear.
Hang on. Was there any change in this atmosphere?
Yeah.
No, there wasn't. It was the same. The sun rises as usual. As usual. Look at the sun outside. As usual. It rises up. As usual. And what happened to the sky? There was nothing. No trace. But that was the day they entered the ark. That was the day. You know, even when the time comes for inheriting the kingdom, it will be just normal. But it is the day. Do you understand? It is the day of entering the kingdom. There's no, if you hear the message, follow it. Don't wait for signs and whatever. There are no signs. There are no signs. The sign is just the message now has come, which God prophesied that it will come in the last day. That's the only sign. But if you expect that there will be something turning red and blue, whatever, so I can see that the day has come, you won't find that. That one won't come. Here, on the day they entered the ark, the sun rises as usual. And the heavens are as clear as anything, as usual. Listen to the next sentence. Now,
Right.
the heavens are clear, right? Now, what is it?
The sun rises as usual. The day of expectation finally comes, arrives. The sun rises as usual, and the heavens are clear. Now, where is old Noah's flood?
And at the same time, when they don't even know that was the day, they still came to jeer and mock Noah. Where is your flood? So it means every day they were coming in the morning. Noah, he was busy building, telling people, beware, the flood is coming. They came on the day when Noah and family went into the ark. But there was nothing to warn them, nothing. The sun was rising, and also the clear sky. There's nothing. They still came as usual to jeer and mock Noah. Where is your flood? Listen to that.
Now, where is old Noah's flood?
Old Noah, he was now grown old. 120 years doing the same thing. He was now old. It was called Old Noah. Now, where is old Noah's flood? Right on the day they entered the ark. Listen to that. Now, where is
old Noah's flood? Is heard from 1,000 impious lips.
There were 1,000 impious lips just scolding Noah. Are we not scolding and mocking and jeering at the Elijah of the day or the Noah of the day? Are we not doing that? Right? Let's see the 56.2. SCOC. The farmer.
The farmer is caring for his herds and lands, and the mechanic is pursuing his work of building.
Mhm.
On this very day, some are being joined in marriage.
That very day was a wedding day for someone. That day means while some were building the ark, they were preparing for that day to wed. Yeah? Right? Let's see point 2 there. The farmer is caring. We have heard the farmer. The farmer
The farmer
still counting how many heads of cattle, how many on that day.
The farmer is caring for his herds and lands, and the mechanic is pursuing his work of building. On this very day, some are being joined in marriage. The farm, with many, it is a day of unusual feasting and sports.
With many, that day was a day of sports, a day
Unusual
of
feast.
marriage, feast. That day.
With many, it is a day of unusual feasting and sports. And while all are looking to the long years of the future prosperity and happiness, suddenly the heavens gather blackness.
Right. Suddenly, it's dark. It's getting gray. They've never seen rain. Imagine. It's black out there. Yeah?
Suddenly the heavens gather blackness. Fear fills every heart.
No one is happy.
The windows of
People
heaven
are scared. Lest Noah was right. Right? The windows of heaven open. Yeah.
The windows of heaven open, and the rain in torrents descends. The fountains of the great deep are broken up, and here and there come gushing up rivers of waters.
Right?
The valleys are fast filling up, and the thousands are swept away in death.
I'm so scared about the bravery of these people when they saw Noah sitting in the ark with his family and with animals for 7 days. They are watching such a scene, and they are still brave to provoke him, to call him names.